Happy New Year everyone, and welcome to the channel. Serena here, aka Woolly Nomad, and I have an episode of yarny goodness, if you like. So today I'm sharing projects that I've been working on this year and perhaps even before this year, and the projects I want to carry on with and complete moving forward. And then I was going to talk about a few things that I want to make. I think when you talk about things to make, you don't want to go too far in the future because plans tend to change. So to start off with, I'm going to share my crochet hat. And as you can see, I've made some really good progress on it. It's a really nice fabric. I'm crocheting this up in an abstract manner. I'm using a number 7 hook, kindly provided by my mum, with a bunch of other hooks too. And I'm using a Hobbycraft yarn. It's a fluffy yarn, more than a DK, maybe sort of more of a chunky, I suppose, because it's a number 7 hook. It'd probably be the same kind of knitting needle as well, maybe a number 7 knitting needle even. But yeah, I was thinking of making like a baby cardigan or something with this yarn, but I think the fluffiness is not good for babies. So I've moved the camera because the light was a little bit, I think it was a bit weird where I was before, and I think it's better here. I can see the yarn better. I hope you can. I've had to brighten it a little bit as well. But this yarn is really nice. Sorry, and it's a lovely yarn to crochet with. I'm at the point now where, I'm just doing a kind of a round and round kind of stitch. So I've done some sort of extra abstracty stitches up to this point, and now I'm going to finish off with this going round and round. And you know, this hat reminds me of Taylor Swift's song, you know, where she's wearing the swimming stuff. The next project I've been working on is baby knits, and specifically cardigans. So I've been knitting up some baby cardigans. And this is knit up in a cotton slump yarn, which is quite nice. And it's kind of basic, apart from I've added in some short rows in the neckline, and I'm going to be showing that pattern hopefully in the next vlog. I always have a pair of socks on the go, and here are my latest ones. They're currently living in this little lightweight bag I made, and I got the material from Guthrie & Ghani in Birmingham. In the Moseley area, and the idea is to just be able to pull it tight and pop it over onto your arm so that you can hold the socks while you walk along and knit, because I do like to walk and knit, especially if you've got a round and round project like this. So I've made good progress on this particular sock, and I've already got the other sock knitted up apart from the heel. So afterthought heel is what's going to be happening, and I'm using 2 sock wool yarns. I think one's a King Cole, the pinky one, and the bluey one might be, let me have a think. I don't think it's a West Yorkshire spinner yarn, but it might be a Stylecraft or something like that, but they are sock wool yarns. And what I tend to do is, actually I'm using a 2.25mm needle. And I like to use the 2 needles on the knitting together. It makes it so much easier to knit. I do recommend it if you are a sock knitter, or if you want to knit some socks anyway. It just makes it easier. I will be sharing some yarn that I'm going to be using to knit my next pair of socks, but there'll always be socks on the go. So this project has been hanging around for a while actually. It's in this little tote bag that I made a while back as well. And the idea with the tote bag, of course, is to be able to hold your knitting again when you go somewhere or when you walk about. So as you can see, there's a lot of tangliness going on in here because everything's just been chucked into the bag, or it's just living in the bag, because basically I ran out of yarn. So I started with this really lovely Malabrigo, I think it is. Is it Malabrigo? Yes, it is. I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway, it's really soft and very nice. Lovely colour, one of my fave colours actually. So I've knit the hat up. It's a hat and mittens, in case you couldn't guess because of all the tangliness going on. But the hat has knit up really nicely, and then I came to the mittens and I didn't have enough to knit both the mittens, so I started knitting them tangentially, thinking, you know, I could add in another yarn and that'll be fine. But I've added in already a few bits and pieces of pink that I already had, which is fine, and I kind of like the effect. I've dropped something there. But I still have not got enough. So what I've done recently is I've found some other yarns and I've tried to match them up. So you've got varying colours of pink. So that's the original pink, which is a really quite bright pink, and then I've got these other pinks in there, which I also ran out of. So I found this sort of pinky purpley bit of yarn as well, and I found this kind of pinky yarn and this darker pinky yarn, and I did my beady beanie hat with this yarn, which is quite nice. And then I had this from a cardigan I made quite a long time ago, and this was just an extra bit of knitting to do with that. So I've got a few bits and pieces of pink with which I can actually finish these mitts. Now they're supposed to be kind of like half mitts, but I'll see. This year I organised a bunch of minis as an advent calendar, and the idea was to share every single day, and there would be 2 minis and it would be like a colour combination, so colours bouncing off each other. Unfortunately, you only got 2 episodes because I had some time constraints with some other projects on the go, so filming did not happen. However, I thought I would share all the minis now, as I hadn't shared them before, and show you what kind of colour combinations I had organised. And literally you can put any colour next to any colour really, but some sit better than others. For instance, this green and orange is really nice. And I really enjoyed putting it all together, so I really wanted to share it with you. The idea behind it, of course, is to, like I said, think about colour combinations and how colour sits. And because I design all my own stuff, I often make little colour combination samples. I don't necessarily put yarns together like this. I will actually knit different colours together to see how they work. But I think this is a good way to start out and think about colours you can use with each other. So for instance, if you wanted to do some colour work, these would be perfect for making little colour work samples, and you could then go on to design something bigger. So you could start off with some little designs that you can then expand on. Sometimes colours you don't think go together will really pop. So I think this is a really nice idea, and I did get the inspiration from knitters who had in the past shared advents of minis, and you can buy them, etc. I didn't really want to buy anything because I don't need to be surprised necessarily. I'd rather do the thing myself and surprise myself later, so that's what I did. But when I put these together, I didn't do it thinking I'm just going to have these hanging around. I mean, these two look great, don't they? Look at these 2 colours. Yeah, absolutely lovely. Anyway, I didn't want them to hang around, so I did have an idea of making small pattern designs or popping them into some sort of crochet blanket, because I really like the idea of hexy blankets, and I've got one on the go at the moment, and it's been on the go for years, and I have to finish it. So I'll be sharing that with you, not in this episode, but in the new year, hopefully. You can also use, these are sock quills, so you can use them in your socks for heels or toes or cuffs, and I might do that as well. So they'll either be used for, like I said, pattern design, and maybe crochet blanket, and or actually in socks. And the nice thing about putting yarn together like this is that, especially bits and pieces that you've already knit, is that you know, it reminds you of, oh yeah, I knit those socks. I suppose another way of looking at it is this, that if you keep some sock wool back, and your socks get holes in them, you can actually mend your socks, and you have a variety of yarns to mend your socks with. So maybe having little minis like this that is sock wool is actually a good idea just for like sock mending purposes. And I totally believe in things like mending rather than just creating new things all the time. So create new things definitely, but mend the stuff that you spent loads of time knitting on in the first place. So this project is something I really want to finish this year. I've had it on the needles for a couple of years now, and I have literally only knit the back. It's supposed to be a cardigan, but the texture of the fabric, it came out quite thick, and I think at the time I was okay with it. It was going to be a raglan, as you can see. It was a bottom up raglan, and I was going to knit further on it, but I think then at some point I was like, it's too thick, the yarn's too thick, and I was going to add in this West Yorkshire spinner, and this is DK yarn, sorry if I didn't say it, so it's DK weight, and I was going to add in a stripe, which then I didn't like. So I think what I'm going to do is, the yarn is lovely, I think it's a drops yarn, but it hasn't got any ball bands anymore, so I can't remember. But it's a DK weight yarn, it's 100% wool, and it's a lovely yarn, but I think it needs to be looser. The tension is too tight, and I think I want to knit top down rather than bottom up, so I might start a top down jumper with this, or cardigan rather. And if I'm going to put stripes in, I might use a different colour. So the first thing to do is going to be to frog the back, and what I can do is I can start out by winding it into a ball, and then I can make it into a hank, which I can then sort of soak a little bit perhaps, which will take the frogginess out of the yarn. But alternatively, I could just start knitting it up, and I think, you know, when you wind it into a ball, that gets rid of that froggy aspect anyway. But yeah, so it was a little bit of a thicker jumper, which I didn't want. So yeah, so moving that out of the way, I have got another jumper which I started last year, and I did make good progress. I knit the front and the back, and I made one on camera actually, and it's the basic jumper, so I made a blue one on camera. But what I didn't like about it was the neck, and even though, I mean, it looks okay, I'm kind of not happy with this. I'm not happy with how the stitches have been picked up and how it's worked out really. I think what I would do is I might put, I mean, that's okay, the shoulder's okay, and the arms will go on like that. It's a drop shoulder, but I think what I would do is I would take that neckband off, and I would put a neckband that would actually roll round perhaps. That might be nicer. I don't know, that neckband just does not sit very well with me, so yeah, I'm a bit disappointed, because there was a lot of you know, straight knitting on this. Yeah, but the yarn is really nice, the fabric's lovely, and I'm using the West Yorkshire Spinners. It might be Illustrious actually, or it might just be their DK, I can't remember now, because I did buy this quite a while back in a haul, and it has knit up really nicely. I used a 4mm needle on it, but that might be one reason the neck is a bit funny, because the stitch is wider, if that makes sense. So everything looks a bit loosey-goosey around the neck. Yeah, so a different neck I think would definitely benefit that jumper. So the next project that I really want to finish are these mittens, which I've had on the needles since I began this channel. And I had these as a kind of a tutorial at the end of vlogs, but I have taken down some of those vlogs because some of the things I just didn't manage to finish on camera. So you've got sort of half finished things going on, and this was one of them. It's really nice yarn, and it's the Armscote Manor yarn, which is a local sheep breed here in the Midlands, which is quite nice. And I had to pre-order this, and it wasn't too expensive even. It was quite a nice price, and I like the idea of supporting local farmers and sheep, etc. So with this mitten, the idea is that you can cover up your fingers if you want to, and obviously this is not quite finished yet, but then when you want to use your fingers, then you can just open it out, and you know, there you go, voila. You can use your phone, etc. So I had some stuff to do on this side, and I had the thumb to finish off, and they just never got finished. So I'll see if I can find the footage, and if it still works, I might try and finish these on camera. But if that footage doesn't work, then I will just finish them anyway. And I have since done other mitts. So right, in my vibes bag, I have my cable cardigan, which again I have been making for a couple of years now, maybe 3 even, and I'm designing it as I go along, so it is taking longer than necessary. It's a top up, so no minute, top up, not top up, bottom up. It's a bottom up cardigan, and I'm using the Illustrious yarn. So this is definitely the Illustrious yarn, and it's really nice to knit with. So that's the West Yorkshire Spinners Illustrious yarn. And this cable design is sort of all over, so I cast on the whole thing, fronts and backs, all at once. And the idea was to just knit it up until you got to the sleeve area, then separate, knit the back separately, and then knit the fronts separately. And these are the fronts, as you can see, and the button band is knit with it. So yeah, now I was designing this as I go, but I didn't really write anything down. And sometimes I do that. I'll just knit something and I won't write anything down. So I'm going to have to look at it again and figure out what it was I was doing and whether it still works. So, I mean, I could rip some of it back if I need to, or I could just carry on. So I'm just going to have a look at it and work out where I was with it. So this was one of those knit as you go on the hoof type things, and I think this is a 4.5mm needle I was using. I do like these needles actually, the Symphony needles. And this yarn is really lovely to knit with, and probably I could safely say one of my favourites. It's really nice to knit with, which you might not think since I haven't even finished this cardigan, but I will this year. The next project that needs finishing is this black cardigan, and all it needs is some buttons. So it's a crime really. It's got this really nice lovely lacy detail, which obviously took ages to make. It's a raglan, which I also like. I don't know why it's been in a bag for so long, to be honest with you. And it's also got this nice detail at the bottom as well. But it's taken me this long to finish it. I think I originally started making it because I needed a black cardigan, and then I don't know what happened. I just, you know, it just ended up in a bag. I probably just got too busy doing other stuff, as you do. I'm sure we all have bags rolling around with things in it, but this is one thing I don't want to frog. I do want to finish it off. And all it needs, like I said, is some buttons and, you know, edges sewn in, etc. So I will at some point complete it. It's a 4-ply baby merino wool. I don't think it's drops. It might be the other one, the Debbie Bliss one, although I can't totally remember because it's been such a long time. But that is one thing I really need to finish this year, so fingers crossed for that one. So moving on to what we're going to be knitting this year, and I don't want to think about anything further than a couple of months away, to be honest with you. First thing is going to be a hat. I'm very inspired by my crochet hat at the moment, so I'm going to use this yarn, which is the Get Your Fluff On yarn, which I've already used on the channel, and I knit a cowl up, which Mum has at the moment. I hope you're wearing it, Mum. Yeah, so this is really nice yarn to knit, and I think it will be lovely to crochet as well. So that's going to be a hat. Whether or not I add in, I mean, it's going to be silver, whether or not I add in the crimson, we'll see. The second project is using this yarn, which is, I think, an Italian yarn, but it's a cotton slump yarn. I've had it for quite a while. It's from the time when me and Mum used to go out yarn shopping, and we'd naughtily buy loads of different kinds of yarns because we wanted the choice, basically. And this one, this has kind of got a blue tinge in it, and we had one with a black tinge in it as well. So I rather like this one, and I've knit the baby cardi, and now I'm going to knit my own cardi, hopefully. For the Mum's Day shawl, which I am hoping to knit for Mum's Day, which is in March, so that is quite far away still, so I think I will manage it. So I've got to design it and knit it. I'm going to use cashmere. So I've got a couple of cones here, different colours. And the idea is to mix the plain coned yarn with an independent yarn. So these are the plain colours I've got. And then the independent yarn from different yarn dyers is colourful, so I think mixing the plain and the colour together, that'll look really lovely. And I think I got these yarns, I think I got one from Yarningham a while back, one from Loop London, or a couple from Loop London, and also maybe from abroad when I visited abroad. So I think these would look really nice together, and this one definitely goes with the cream. So how it's going to work, we shall see. I'm going to do a few samples. Now that looks quite nice with that. So you've got the fawn colour, and then you've got the blue, which has got some kind of fawn in it. Now the independent yarn is a 4-ply yarn, and the coned yarn, or the cashmere, is a 2-ply. So I'm going to have to double up, I think, the cashmere so it goes okay with the independent yarn. I'll have to see. It's going to be a case of making some fun little samples, which is what I really love to do. I have been designing some baby wear, and you've already seen the cardigan, so I'm thinking of making a few more baby wear items, probably cardigans actually, but I wanted to knit something on camera for you, so I'm going to do a basic cardi on camera, and also there'll be a pattern available. So I'm going to use one of these yarns perhaps for that, but I'm going to be doing a vlog, maybe it'll be in the next week or two, about baby wear and yarns, and I've got other yarns as well, what yarns you can use, what needles you can use, etc., and kind of set up the whole baby yarn experience. And last, is this last? May well be. Oh no, it's not last actually, but it's socks. So going forward there will be more socks, of course, and I've got a couple of yarns that I've put together. I think these will go together really nicely. I haven't really used a kind of a grey toned yarn with my socks before, I don't think. So yeah, that'd be nice. I'm using the 2.25mm needles for that, and I'm hoping to cast that on in the not too distant future, because I do like a sock project to be on the go always, although I still got to finish my other ones. You can have more than one on the go, can't you? So they will be some toe-up socks, probably helical. And then I have, the last thing is this yarn cake. So these are yarns that I had from various different projects. They're all wool, 100% wool. They were various different projects, and they were, so this is kind of upcycled in a way, because these are from samples or little sort of odds that were left over from projects. So maybe I made a sample for a project like a tension square, So what I've done is I've taken them apart and I've rolled them into this ball because I wanted to use it for a crochet project. And I'm thinking something like a crochet shawl or a crochet blanket. Now blanket, I'm not really into blankets, to be honest with you, but I think a crochet shawl would be nice. And that is the rundown of what I hope to finish and what I hope to start. Doesn't mean there won't be other projects and I won't be using other yarns, because I have got quite a lot of yarn, and one of my goals is to use it all up. Probably not all this year. Anyway, bye for now.